We begin with the diplomatic escalation between India and Pakistan. Both countries have revoked visas for each other's citizens as relations continue to deteriorate. It comes after militants gunned down 26 civilians in Indian-administered Kashmir earlier this week. Delhi has accused Pakistan of supporting cross-border terrorism and says it's suspending a water-sharing treaty with Islamabad. Pakistan, however, says that any attempt to stop the supply of water would be an act of war.
Simran Rupchandni escaped the gun massacre in Indian-controlled Kashmir with her life, injuring her leg while trying to flee the shooting with help from her husband.
I pushed my wife and my son towards the swamp. As the firing continued, we couldn't think. We walked for 7 to 8 kilometers away from the attack site. My wife fell 3 or 4 times. She twisted her ankle.
This survivor's story is just one of a number now emerging as Indian authorities continue their hunt for those behind Tuesday's attack that claimed 26 lives, including that of Adil Hussain Shah, a local pony guide who lived here with his family. He reportedly died while trying to save the lives of others. His home, now a place of remembrance.
I am very proud of my son, extremely proud of his bravery. I am alive because of this pride. Otherwise, I would have died remembering his youth and his face.
India blames neighbouring Pakistan for the attack and has shut the main border crossing between the two countries, among a string of retaliatory measures which include the suspension of a decades-old water-sharing treaty. A decision that has sparked angry protests in Pakistan and incensed Islamabad, which denies any involvement in the attack and warns that any attempt to shut off water supplies from the Indus River would be an act of war.
India is fighting a low-intensity war against us. And if they scale up, we are ready to protect our land. We will not come under any international pressure.
And as the public pressure and rhetoric on both sides mount, fears grow that renewed tensions between these two nuclear rivals could spiral out of control.
Let's bring in DW correspondent Adil Bhat in Srinagar in Indian-administered Kashmir. Adil, tell us about the latest there in Kashmir.
Well, Kashmir is still reeling from the impact of the recent militant attack on tourists. The locals here are angry, and people are still talking. They're still talking about this attack in several corners of the street. They say it's impacting their business as the attack has taken a sudden hit on tourism. Also, I'm currently in Srinagar, which is the capital city of Kashmir. It has opened up yesterday with shopkeepers, but they're still anxious about the consequences about this recent attack, that it will have definitely consequences on them. So on the other hand, we see, tourists flocking, they're flocking to the airport, making sudden departures. We see hotel owners, they told me also that tourists who are planning to come in the coming weeks have cancelled their bookings. This worries many locals here, especially for those who are in tourism sector. At the state level, when we talk about India and Pakistan have cut diplomatic ties. They're shutting down missions, they're recalling diplomats, suspending even treaties, and even expelling citizens also. So this has alarmed the local population here. They're fearing a massive escalation between two nuclear-armed nations. Also, we have to remember that the memories of the past wars between the two nations still haunt the people in Kashmir. So what experts are also saying that this attack on tourists is seen as a setback to Prime Minister Modi and his Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party's narrative of normalcy in Kashmir after they scrapped special status in 2019. And the recent attack has definitely punctured that narrative. That's what the experts are telling us.
Okay, and we also heard that Kashmiri students have been attacked in some parts of India. What are the details on that, and how are people reacting there?
Well, families in Kashmir, they're fearing about the attacks on Kashmiris in other parts of the India. To evict them. Several of them have been assaulted and threatened across the country, but this is not for the first time it has happened. Each time there is a militant attack in Kashmir, we see the consequences like that. We see students or like professionals getting attacked in different parts of India. We have also reports, as they have been reported in local media, in mainstream media, that in a college in Punjab state, Kashmiri students say they were assaulted and attacked by other students with armed sticks and knives. There is in another state, in Uttarakhand, a Hindu right-wing group, they have threatened Kashmiri students to leave this place or face reprisal. Also, I spoke with several distressed families who told me that they are worried about the safety of their children. They're asking them to return. So what we see now, the Kashmiri students are leaving different parts of the country. They are returning to home now. They are anxious, but families are also distressed here. And also what we see, Chief Minister of the state, Umar Abdullah, also said that he's monitoring this issue and he's in touch with other state administration regarding the safety of Kashmiri students.
Okay, escalating tensions not just in Kashmir, but across India and Pakistan. DW correspondent Adil Bhat in Srinagar. Thank you.
I'm joined now by Anuradha Bhasin. She's the managing editor of the Kashmir Times. It's good to have you with us again this week. We have heard in the past from the Indian Prime Minister that Kashmir is a safe region. And then we have this terror attack. How are these two, opposite facts, how are they being discussed in India?
They're being discussed in different ways. A larger ecosystem in India, unfortunately, is very, very pro-government and is not asking the questions. But, some of them who are definitely talking about the political responsibility and accountability apart from, the security lapses. Because the Modi government has made tourism as the central pivot of its positive narrative about Kashmir, and telling the nation that terrorism there has ended and it has been replaced by tourism, while not really providing that kind of security cover in tourist places as the attack exposes.
And, the reactions that we've seen so far from both India and Pakistan have been strong. Could this diplomatic row, what is now a diplomatic row, could it escalate, do you think, into an armed conflict?
I hope not. But at the moment, we just have two very belligerent leaderships on both sides. You have the army control in Pakistan. And there have been recent statements by the Pakistan Army chief, which have not been very positive. And on the Indian side, you have a Hindu right-wing government whose politics is fed on communal hate and hatred of Pakistan. So that doesn't augur well. But, war is in nobody's interest. Neither country can afford war. And there are hopes that this thing turns around and does not escalate beyond this point. There have been occasions in the past, when India and Pakistan came close to a war, and then things changed back in 2000. Soon after that, there was a peace process. So we are hoping that something magical happens.
The Indian government has said that the attack had cross-border links to Pakistan. Has it presented any evidence to support this?
Unfortunately, that's what has happened. Within hours of the incident, even before the army or the police could reach the spot, these narratives were already being circulated widely in India, that these are people from outside and all of Kashmir is to be blamed. So the target is also all the local Kashmiris. And that's very unfortunate. So immediately after this incident, these kind of, accusations have started, even when the facts were not there, even when the security forces, the police, any investigators, or anybody who could even rescue those tourists out of that area, even they were not there. These things were in circulation. And even more unfortunately, the retaliatory response on the Pakistan side, again without evidence, again without facts, is that this is a false flag operation.
And
I think the focus at the moment should be to get the facts on the ground. We still don't have them.
And this certainly looks like a very much a 21st century conflict, with India using this water sharing treaty, suspending it, using a natural resource as a weapon.
I'm trying to understand how they're going to do it, because, it's not easy. You need to have mechanisms to store the water or to divert the water. And does India have enough infrastructure to do that? And what happens if it is unable to? It's not that easy to tame waters.
Yeah. Anuradha Bhasin of the Kashmir Times, we appreciate your time and bringing us to the latest on these developments. Thank you.